Before WWE, before AEW, even before the Von Erichs, there was a time when women's wrestling was a naughty no-no. But one woman stood up and became the first $1 million baby in a squared circle. It's the true-ish story of Mildred Burke, a boss bish yas queen of the ring. Get ready for bruises, bumps, and lady lumps in this sepia-stained biography, Queen of the Ring. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, Queen of the Ring, written and directed by Ash Avildsen, who's known for directing What Now and American Satan. We meet single mother Mildred, who works in her mother's diner in the Midwest of America. She is absolutely obsessed with wrestling, and one day dreams of being in the squared circle herself. But this is 30s society, and they're having none of it! In this historical stage of American history, female wrestling was very frowned upon. The film states that women's wrestling was in fact illegal at the time, but I couldn't find any evidence to back that up online. Although there were definitely barriers put in place to deter women's wrestling at the time, and obstacles put in place by the powers that be. Anyway, one night Mildred witnesses a match between heel Billy Wolf and future gorgeous George Wagner. One night they both show up at Mildred's mother's diner, and Mildred uses her charm and relentlessness to convince Billy Wolf to train her in the ring. Fair to say that Billy Wolf likes the cut of her jib, trains her, and takes her on a carny tour as a sideshow act, getting random men to pay a fee to enter the wrestling ring, which to see if they can pin her. It's fair to say that she gets a name for herself around these parts of this southern gal who can pin men. That is, until one day she is challenged by snoo-snoo loving femme fatale, and it's fair to say the crowd goes nuts. With dollar signs and stars in their eyes, Billy and Mildred team up as business partners and join forces to begin a touring women's wrestling company. But hang on a second, I thought women's wrestling was illegal. Don't worry about that. Billy and Mildred then recruit a bunch of hungry, starry-eyed ladies, and they all get their own gimmick. They also enlist the help of creative talent scout and promoter Jack Piefer, played by the legendary Walton Goggins, and financier promoter Al Haft, played by John Kreese himself, Martin Cove. This film is the true story of the godmother of female wrestling, Mildred "Millie" Burke. She had a magnificent career between the 1930s to the 1950s, winning 3 women's world titles. Although the acting is pretty good here throughout the film, it does play out a little overdramatic at times, and the movie feeling like a bigger budgeted midday movie. Ultimately, the movie plays out like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Oh, remember this happened? Then insert not so subtle wrestling character or reference, and then this happened, oh, and then this happened. The film has that sepia filter over it to mind you that it is in fact a period piece and set in ye old times. You know, coming across like it looks like an old photograph. We also get a lot of tip of the caps and deep cuts of wrestling history, all peppered throughout. Even a cameo from real-life shoot promo, Jim Cornette. The first half of the film is the rise and rise and rise of women's wrestling, and there seems to be a hell of a lot of montages throughout. However, throughout the middle of the film, I hope you like the look of the inside of hotel lobbies and hotel rooms, because you're going to get a shit ton of that. I will say, though, it's the third act that really grabbed me. We finally end up back in the ring, and we see the marriage between television and professional wrestling. The costumes are decent throughout, I must say. But for the love of God, whoever thought that the horrendous wig for gorgeous George was acceptable needs to be put in a camel clutch immediately. But I've gotta say, elephant in the room, the film does tick all of the woke boxes, I'm not gonna lie. The film has feminism, sexuality, sexism, racism, and pretty much all of the isms that was in the 30s and 50s. And you know, way back then, there was a lot of them. And this is where the majority of the melodrama comes from. It's not insufferably intolerable, but it's definitely there and noticeable. And my cynical brain knows that when Hollywood picked up this script and flicked through the pages for a quick read, the agenda consultants jizzed in their pants at least 5 times before even getting to page 10. Let's just say it wouldn't have been hard to get this film greenlit. However, in saying all that, the film is fine. I mean, it's no Iron Claw, but it's worth a watch. It's not great, it's not bad, but as I aforementioned earlier on, it definitely feels like a bigger budget midday movie. Anyway guys, this is my cheeky little review of Queen of the Ring. Write down below if you've seen it. What are your thoughts on it? But more importantly, what is your favourite wrestling-themed movie? And of course, if you've made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going because I just love movies, and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because I give out an episode weekly. And I'll see you back here next week for the next review, but until then, stay spooky, kids.